Alrighty, so hello and welcome to another episode of Mobile Mondays with me, Kirsty, on Other Half Gaming. Okay, so what we're reviewing this week is the Telltale Games Game of Thrones game for the mobile. I inspired to do this because the recent release of Batman this week on the Xbox and other consoles. So I thought I'd give the Telltale game franchise a little go, and this was the game I found on the App Store. Okay, so not quite sure what to expect, if I'm honest, because I've never played a Telltale game before. Dan's played a couple of them, but this one's a new one for me. So I thought, well, not quite sure really what to expect. So it's actually set up in episodes. So you can actually download the episode 1 for free on the Google Play App Store, which is partly why I thought, I'll give this a go. It's not going to cost me anything. If I don't like it, you know what, doesn't matter. So essentially, this game actually adapts the choices that you make. So actually what you decide to do in the game does actually change other actual after effects of the other games. I don't know if you used to play some games as a kid where you used to choose different paths through a book, but that's pretty much what this one does. So we're going to pretty much be playing as House Forrester, or in the interest of House Forrester for this game. So let's see how that goes, shall we?
The trout in the tower, the wolves dropped the fish and they all ran away. Now we crossed the harbor. Another war to pray. Two weddings brought on by beheadings, but now he comes to me. Two weddings brought on by beheadings, and all unhappily.
The great Jamie Lannister, Kingslayer, Oathbreaker, brought to his knees by the men of the North.
And set free by the women. You'd think he'd done it himself the way he tells it. Lord Forrester's sword won't clean itself, you know.
Okay, so essentially this is going to be a review of this. So it's going to be, I'm going to basically show you the main elements of this game. And so things like this where you have to interact with things. It's not just choices, you have to interact to do stuff as well. As you can see, I struggle with that a little bit. Yes, essentially this is all about your choices that you're making. So my character here can see something's wrong. And it's a choice of I've got to decide how am I going to tell the other characters, what am I going to do about this. So they're having a bit of a discussion at the moment about what's going on. So I've got to be like, okay, what the hell do I do? Okay, so I'm thinking maybe warn my lord is probably the most important bit. Like I could try and save my friend, but I don't know if I'm going to get killed in the process, and then I can warn my lord. So it's very much you've got to decide what you think is best in each scenario, which I thought was quite cool. So now I've got to somehow manage to get through this bit to find my lord and not get killed. Actually quite difficult, especially at this point. It's really good though how this is really early in the game, because it actually gives you a really good chance to get used to the controls. Should be fairly easy, hopefully, with your arrows, but sometimes it's a little bit awkward. And I'm not very intuitive with some of these games, if I'm honest. But what we're looking at here is, so this is a review of the game, so I'm going to be trying to cut and chop between different aspects of it that I quite liked, and also not giving away any spoilers, because what I'd like to do is also put together a walkthrough of this game, that of my playthrough, because I've recorded my entire playthrough on this episode, so I will be putting that up kind of at a later date, hopefully the next couple of weeks, but fingers crossed. So we'll give that a go. So I'm currently running through all of this. I don't know if you guys have realised where we are now. We are actually just after that very joyous red wedding. You know, that wedding that went so well. I don't know if you remember. It went really well. So after all that joyous partying, everyone's a little bit drunk. And everyone's having a nice little big fight where they're killing people. It's joyous. So we're just trying now to survive and get back to my liege lord. So a bit of a ducking and diving and jumping underneath the cart there. So for a choices game, actually, I thought this was much more involved than I originally thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be sitting there making choices about what words to say, and I didn't think that would be that interesting, if I'm honest. But actually, because you've got all these extra scenes of where you actually do stuff in the middle occasionally, I found that made the game a lot more interesting and a lot more involving. Okay, so swiping sideways, swiping down. So I've got this. I'm not even armed with a sword, I don't know. I'm not even armed with a sword at this point, so I'm not very good. Okay, as you can see, I've just... Oopsie. I don't think I'm doing very well here. Nope, died. Okay, so because we've reached a save point, what it's doing is taking us back then to the next, like the previous save point. So I've only got to do this like little bit again, so that's not too bad. And actually throughout the game, there's not that many times where you die, or like the character you're playing dies, because you don't actually just play the one character throughout the entire thing. There's like a couple of characters that you play per episode, and swapping all towards the same plot line, but you're seeing different aspects of the same plot line. So obviously I can't really do anything else to the story. This is obviously quite an instrumental bit of the story, because obviously I wouldn't be being put back to redo it. So I obviously need to survive this bit for the story to actually continue. Which makes me think this guy is actually going to end up saying something relatively instrumental into your plot line. I would have thought, otherwise I don't quite see why they try and keep him alive so long. Oh, I think I'm free. I'm free. Give him a kick. Aha! And now only he gets run over by horses this time. This is good. This is promising. Run! Oh, shit. Yeah, he was meant to be like the Lord's son that I was trying not to get killed and try and find, and oopsie. This isn't good. Okay, so I've got to now tell them what kind of happened, and I think that's kind of what happened. I didn't really there wasn't a lot I could do. I didn't really have a sword, to be fair. So, that's not good news. Okay. I'm going to, slightly lie here because I don't want people to feel bad about it. I thought I'd try. I really tried really hard, honest. So you can actually lie, and those lies do actually... Having not only played this game through once, I don't know how much those impacts the lies might have later. But I'm going with the concept that I just want to survive this thing and just hope to God I live. I like the living bit. The living bit sounds really good. That does not look good. Lots of people seem to have a nasty habit of dying in this game. Supremely not cool. Ah. Come on, yeah, that's it. We have to keep moving. We have to keep going. That's what I'm trying to tell you. What you can't hear is actually this game audio, which the guy talks back to you as well. I've taken that off so I can obviously review the game, and because where I've chopped and moved stuff about, well, not moved stuff, where I've chopped and cut stuff, it obviously made more sense to not have the game audio. And also I didn't want to give away too many spoilers, because in case you guys want to go play this yourself, it's actually quite fun having the story plot there, because you do actually get surprisingly attached to the story plot. And sometimes you make a choice and you're like, actually, I don't know if I should have done that. That was probably not a good idea. I should not have said that. So quite Hagrid. Nice little Harry Potter reference in there. I just thought I'd just fling that one in. Okay, so at this point, he's actually telling me a secret that my uncle... I've got to tell my uncle a secret who works for Lord Forrester. So I've got to make sure I get the secret only to him. So it's like a really important secret. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's something to obviously do with that North Grove. But I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, because obviously I don't want to spoil it. So I have tried to keep a lot of this footage from fairly early on in the game to obviously try and not put too many spoilers in this. Okay, so what we've now happened is we've actually now swapped to a different character. So we've now actually Ethan Forrester, who's the third born son of Lord Forrester. Okay, this guy's actually a bit unlucky because actually what's happened is his dad and his two, so the heir apparent, his oldest brother and his second brother's actually all died in the old battle. So this actually puts this kind of kid who third born son, not really expecting to be, anyone particular, and he suddenly found himself Lord. And I feel a little bit sorry for him actually, because he's still just a kid and hasn't really been trained for this. Okay, so here this is him getting dragged into quite a big affair. So it's obviously quite a lot of issues. Actually, this issue's been caused by something you've done with your other character. So you've killed someone as part of a pig farm. Well, I killed them as part of the pig farm. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, you'll see when you play. But anyway, this gets someone really annoyed. So then we have to deal with the consequences of the actions that have happened in this game already. So I've got these two really big figures in this life. One's really army, weapons, going to kill people. The other one's quite calm, quite level-headed. And obviously you're trying to just make decisions based on what they're telling you because you don't know anything else apart from what they're telling you. So you have to try and make a decision of how the best to handle the situation and ideally not get yourself killed. Because I would like to live. I like living. I don't know if I'd mentioned this already, but I like living. Okay, so this is Whitehall, who is a bit of a brute. I don't like him, so I'm going to ignore his hand because he's an idiot. And obviously, this really pisses him off. So I don't know if I could have handled the situation better if I'd shook his hand, but I also think maybe showing a bit of strength in there might have been a good idea as well. So we'll just see what happens. Or I could just try and piss him off as much as possible. That could also work because he wants some food. He's saying as a lord, I should have sent for food. I'm like, no, calm down. So he's remembering that. So that's actually saying that's a choice that has actually going to have consequences later on. So that is going to affect what kind of options you have with this character kind of in the future. Which is potentially not good. Okay, so you can see this is quite a fiery scene. So you've got Ethan trying to prove himself as a lord, and then you've got Whitehall being really brutish and having a thing and being his bonnet. And okay, the problem with the Whitehall is obviously now we've got I don't know if you guys have seen Game of Thrones, but we're a bit of fans. So you've now got the problem of the Freys have obviously sided with the Boltons because they're pissed off at the Starks. Shocking. And then you've got the Whitehalls are actually liege servants to the Boltons. That really friendly bunch. And so we've got now the Boltons are the Wardens of the North, and then you've got the Whitehalls are going, well, we've got the power behind us, the Wardens of the North, so we're going to come and bully you and be really mean. So they're trying to ask where this other guy's gone that you were playing previously. And we've actually sent him to the wall because of this murder, and we want him not to cause too much trouble for this. And he's really pissed off because he obviously wanted to kill him. So we thought sending him to the wall, this guy to the wall, was probably the safest option for him. I feel quite sorry for him because obviously we all know the wall is not particularly a pleasant place to go. It's not like it's a holiday camp. Just putting that out there. And okay, so now Mother's intervening. That's joyous. I'm not entirely sure if this helps or hinders the matter. It does calm the situation down a lot. But I don't necessarily know if it actually helps. So, thank you for coming. I'm going to dismiss you. I'm like an 11-year-old boy, but I'm going to tell you to fuck off. Essentially. There is a little bit of swearing in this game. No, not everyone actually says the swear words. But there is actually a couple of times in the game where you do see fuck off written on the screen. So just a warning for anyone who's thinking about playing this with kids. I possibly wouldn't. I don't think it's child friendly. I honestly don't think younger kids are going to get the point of this game. Unlike some of the other games I've actually played, this game is quite a long game to play. Like the entire game of episode 1 took me a good probably a couple of hours to sit and play through. So just a heads up on that one. Okay, so we're now Maria Forrester, who is Ethan's older sister. So she's actually handmaiden to Lady Margaret, who we all know is the new betrothed of fiancé number 2 of King Joffrey. So he does get through a few fiancés, doesn't he? So there's a bit of Sansa Stark, then there's a bit of Margaret. So okay, because of all this issues with going on up north, so I've been summoned to go see Cersei. So I'm sat here currently going, shit, am I going to survive this? Probably not. I don't think there's much. I've really seen what I've just been told by Lady Margaret to do is literally just kiss ass. Kiss as much ass as I physically can, and that should do it. So let's go see if I can how much ass I can kiss. Is the plan. The plan with this one. But yeah, essentially with this game, you do need to. It's a game you do need to sit down and play. I thought Bow My Head was quite a good like medium in between the two, because I didn't want to actually like properly kneel. But actually, as it turns out, she gets really pissed off with that. That was probably not my best start. I probably did want to actually kneel. I think kneeling would have been a better choice. But I really hate Cersei. I didn't really want to kneel to her out of principle. So, I'm not kneeling. Not happening. But yeah, what I did for this bit is I really just sat and just played through the second bit. Because it was really kind of, especially with the story plot, it's really cool just to sit down and play it, because you get really ingrained and you remember the plot lines and you start to remember what you've already previously done and the decisions you've already made, and you start kind of being a bit more consistent in your gameplay. So potentially this would be a good one for a long train journey. Or a long flight, also a good one. Potentially also just generally just sat on the sofa. I just sat on the sofa for a Sunday afternoon and just chilled out playing this. It was actually quite relaxing. And the time went really quickly, actually. Like, it didn't feel like it was a long game because you were so ingrained in watching the plot line and watching the events unfold. So that is something to consider. But to be honest, if you're a parent, you're probably going to want to do this on the commute to work if you commute through trains or anything else. Just because otherwise it's going to be very much starty game. Which you can do. It's possible to do it. But I think I've enjoyed playing it in one long go rather than multiple goes. And I know with Dan, with his Batman game, he's enjoyed playing it in bigger stints than he has when he's tried to pick it up and put it down again. So she doesn't actually believe me. So she kind of sees that I'm kissing ass as well. And she doesn't really believe what I've said. So she doesn't quite trust me. She doesn't trust that I'm particularly loyal. Or that I'm going to not just stab them on the back later on. But then there's Tyrion Lannister there. And let's face it, he's not particularly loyal either. So, she probably wants to clean house first before she starts looking at random little handmaidens. Because, let's face it, I'm not particularly vicious. It's not like I can do very much, to be honest. Half the stuff Tyrion's saying, he's kind of, I'm not quite sure I trust what she says, or that kind of stuff. So I'm not entirely sure he's helping me either. Not that he should, because he doesn't actually know me particularly. But if I can survive the episode, that would be useful. Yeah, so she's basically saying, I'm not entirely sure that I trust you. And she's going, at this point she's going, well, Lady Margaret also got herself engaged to that previous king because he thought she was going to be king and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just trying to say stuff that I hope will save Lady Margaret at this point, because Lady Margaret's obviously really worried that her engagement to the King Joffrey might be broken off. Because obviously she's got this whole power play thing going on. One thing actually I really like about this game is actually the graphics. I was really surprised about the graphics, how good, especially for a mobile. So I'm playing this on Samsung 7. And I I was really surprised how good the graphics were for a mobile game. I don't ever expect much for a mobile game. This one ran really well on this game. Didn't get any problems with lag or anything like that. The graphics obviously pretty good. Sound quality is really good. Does recommend playing with headphones. Actually, just I think a quiet space is probably a good one. I did have to ask Dan to shut up for the second lot. And I sat and played it with a bit of peace and quiet. And actually that was pretty good. That was pretty relaxing. I suppose it's more immersive with headphones. It may be just me more immersive with headphones on, because you then focused completely on what you're doing. But I didn't need them. I thought it was alright without. So that was the review from Other Half Gaming from me, Kirsty. I personally will really like this game. I plan on actually downloading the rest of the episodes. Probably not immediately, but they're like 16 quid for the other. There's another 5 episodes on top of this, and they're about 16 quid for those if you want to buy them in bundle pack. So I probably will end up buying them because I actually really enjoy the game, and I will do walkthroughs for them when I do. So keep an eye out for walkthroughs. They'll be coming at some point in the future. I don't like to guarantee these things because life happens, unfortunately. But, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this review. I know it's a bit of a different one this time because it's not such a short game, so I've had to really splice it around for you, and I hope you've got a really good sense of what Telltale Games are all about. If you played any other Telltale games that you think I really enjoyed, please let me know. Chuck them in the old comments. I'd really like to hear about and try and see if the other games are kind of as good as this one, because I quite like the Game of Thrones franchise anyway. So thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely evening, and thank you and good night.